Hello everybody, we are gathered here today to make some spicy rolls. These rolls we have for breakfast or tea or whenever you feel like being a bit spicy really. They're quite simple to make. All we need is some nice hard bread flour, salt, walnuts from our walnut trees, some yeast, a jug of hot water, ginger, 4 spice, very important is 4 spice, that's nice, some raisins, cranberries, whatever you'd like to put on there, mixed peel or something like that. So we'll start off by putting some flour in the bowl, a couple of measures of that, and some nuts. You can see it's very precise the amount we put in here. Yeah, that's enough of that. A nicely measured, almost a teaspoon of salt. It's very precise this. I do. A jigger of this 4 spice. Well, that was not big enough. That's a better one. Yeah. Usually get about 5 or 6 batches out of one of these pots. Raisins. I'd better use all the cranberries, they're my wife's favourite. I expect she'll moan at me for using them up. But she never seems to mind eating the cakes though, so there you go. Whoops! There, they've all gone in there now, look at that. Who would have thought it? Never mind. Very important, sachet of this yeast. This is a yeast that you don't have to start it off with. You can use it straight in the mix. When I'm doing bread, I do the same thing. Mind your fingers with that, won't you? It's pretty sharp. Just tip it in. That water it's more than warm, but it's not hot. It's good for the yeast. I don't know what temperature and I don't know what amount. It's a bit short of a pint, which gives me 1 tray of buns. We just keep mixing flour with it until we get to the right consistency. There it is. Right, we need to whisk this up and get a really nice creamy mixture so the yeast is completely, and salt and everything's all mixed together properly. There, raisins out. Yes, I have washed my hands. More flour. Let's keep adding a couple of measures at a time. My homemade spatula that I made years ago and is exactly right for this job. Do sometimes use an old baby's potty for doing this in. My wife told me not to put that on film. As if I'd do such a thing. Oh, that's stiffening up nicely now. These are really nice with all our homemade jams and our home produced honey. It's a wonder I'm not about 500 stone, or 300 pounds if you will yourself in pounds, or kilos as people do here. We're all very strange how we're all different, isn't it? Oh, mate. Some people say they'd rather be shot than poisoned. There you go. We just start mixing that up and turning it and kneading it. Keep adding that flour to it. You're going to need a bit more yet. See how it's starting to come nicely like that. Still pretty wet. I'll let you know when it gets to just the right consistency. If you make it too dry, you can always add a bit more water, but it does take a bit of... do you know I didn't put any of that ginger in this? Oh well, I suppose we'll live without it this time. would be nice though is some of that ginger juice from there, because it's kind of oily and makes it really nice. Pour a little bit in the middle and it can work its way through. Sometimes I need it like that. As long as you just keep it working and moving through it, you can see that's starting to come nicely. So I'm a master baker. If my old buddy Ian happens to be watching this film, tell him not to forget to put a drop of rum in it. Usually about 10 minutes does the trick. About what I can manage these days. No, surely not. I'm getting bored with this now, so I think it's nearly done. Usually when you pull it through like that, you can see it sort of flaking apart. You can see that it's all in layers. I don't know if you can see that nicely on the camera there. That would be just fine. It's kind of tacky. Not dry, not too sticky. It's going to be a little bit sticky, but not. You can sort of feel that it's just right, really. So, tidy it up nicely like that. Pop it in the bowl. Wash your hands in it. Cover it up with a nice clean tea towel. A clean tea towel all the way from the Isle of Wight. Thank you, Mother. Hey, look at that. The 7 wonders of the Isle of Wight, and there's only 6 of them. Cows you cannot milk, needles you cannot thread, ride where you can walk, Newport you can't bottle, fresh water you can't bottle. What's this? Oh, it's fresh water you can't bottle. Lake where you can walk in and not get your feet wet. What a lot of nonsense. We'll put that over the fire. You need to put it somewhere not too hot, but just somewhere nice and warm. Get that out of the way. And that needs for the yeast to rise. It's usually about an hour, but when it's pushing the top of the tray up, we'll get back to it, and I'll see you in a little while. And here we go. We're back from the Isle of Wight. That was a nice trip. Thank you very much. Our yeast has risen, or our dough has risen quite nicely. Just flatten it down a bit more. A little bit more flour, just so that it doesn't stick to our hands. You can see that. That's just nice and warm. And I've just squashed it down a bit. Now we make our cakes. This little non-stick tray is pretty good. Usually makes a dozen or 15 or something like that. It's pretty good. Yeah, just give that another little flatten out. It's pretty technical, this measurement size, so we just tear it off in pieces. That size and make a nice little bun. Maybe flatten it out a little bit, whatever you like, really. If you're really gutty old lot, you can make enormous ones. I guess you could make one big flat one if you wanted to and cut it in bits. But I like them like this. More, tiny bit of flour on there. I usually do this much faster than this because being on camera, I have to do it nicely. And yes, I have washed my hands. This mass production is really something else. There we are, nicely arranged. There's 15 of them they made. 15? How did I know they were going to make 15? I just know these things, I'm just so clever. So, back to the Isle of Wight. In case you don't know where the Isle of Wight is, it's off the south coast of England, my homeland. These have been over the fire for about half an hour, and they've just risen up nicely. Because they could rise a bit more, but that's okay, they're fine. Oven's on 7, gas mark 7. It's warmed up a bit, too much. Pop those in. See you in a little while, guys. There we are, fresh from the oven. Mind your fingers, they're pretty hot. They're much like bread rolls. You can just sound a bit hollow. Cooked. They'll be alright. Eat them as they are, hot, hotish, or we have them sliced in half, toasted under the grill, a little bit of butter, our own honey, which is really nice, or any of our jams. We've got blackcurrant, raspberry, strawberry, peach, blackberry and apple, rhubarb and apple, whatever. All good wholesome food. Keep you fed for weeks. Make you nice and fat. Perhaps I shouldn't be saying that. There we go. How artistic is that? Get rid of this. Only one thing left to do. Chin chin everybody, Happy New Year, stay safe, don't forget to eat your buns.